y'all, this is Kayla with Live Oak Nest, and today I want to share with you how I made these cute little fabric hearts. So you can do a lot of things with these. I made some for little bowl fillers, and I made a couple that hang, so I wanted to show you how to make these. They're super simple, and it's a no-sew project. So first you want to get your fabric. I use this plaid, it's like a mauve plaid color, and I actually got it at Joann's Fabric back during the fall, I guess year before last. So I've used it for some pumpkins, and I thought it'd be really cute for hearts. So the first thing you want to do is create a heart pattern, and so I just drew half of a heart on an old book page and then folded it and cut it out. And so that's what I'm going to use to make all of, trace on all of my hearts onto my fabric. So this pin I'm using is really cool. It works on fabric just fine. I don't think it's specifically for a fabric pin, but you can hit it with heat, so a blow dryer or your heat gun, and the ink disappears. So it's really great if you're tracing something out and you're not cutting inside the line, and you might be able to see the ink on your finished product. So I'll link these pins down below. I think they're really cool. But after that, you're going to just trim out your heart. So I'm going to take my fabric and I'm going to trim right along the line and cut my heart out of this flannel piece. Alright, so once I have that done, I'm going to put my fabric to the side, and I'm going to repeat the same process for the back of my heart. I decided to use just a plain muslin fabric that I have on hand, so I'm going to use my pattern to trace out my heart and then cut it out. Alright, so now that I've done that, I'm going to line up my hearts, and because I used the flannel heart to trace the shape of the muslin heart, they're a little bit off. I should have used the actual template that I made, but I don't know. I don't know what I was doing. So I'm going to line them up and then just trim around the excess so that I don't have a lot hanging off on one side of the heart. Alright, so now that I've got that finished, I am going to keep the hearts together and lined up, and then I'm just going to kind of fold back the top piece, and I'm going to run a bead of hot glue around most of the heart. I'll leave about 2 to 3 inches. You can do it anywhere on the heart. I just ended up doing the top, one of the top little circles, and so I am going to run my hot glue all the way around, press it down, and I probably did this about 1/4 of an inch inside the fabric, and then just pressed it down, and it held no problem at all. Alright, so now that that's finished, I'm going to go ahead and grab my Poly-fil. I just have a bag of this, so that's what I'm going to use to fill these little hearts up. You can see I have probably 2.5 to maybe a 3-inch hole in the top, and I'm just going to use that to fill my heart. And I wanted to point out, I don't know if you saw that little gap. So there was, on a couple of these, my hot glue gun, I didn't actually get a solid bead, and so after I kind of filled my hearts with the stuffing, you could see where some of them were kind of like had a little bit of a gap, and so I just went back through with my hot glue gun, moved the stuffing out of the way, and then just went ahead and laid a bead of hot glue right there and sealed it together. So I'm just going to fill my heart as full as I want it, and then once I have it how I like it, then I'm going to kind of push the Poly-fil back away from the edge, and then run a bead of hot glue and then seal it up. So I mentioned at the beginning of the video that the pens I used, you can hit them with heat and the ink disappears. And so I grabbed my blow dryer, and that's what I'm doing. I'm just going around the outside edge of both hearts, and I'm just using my blow dryer to apply heat, and the ink disappears. So it just helps with markings, and that way I don't have a black line around the outside edge of my heart. So I decided I wanted to fray the edges just a little bit to make, kind of give them that shabby chic rustic look. So I'm just going around with my fingernail and just fraying the edges out till I get it how I like it. Okay, so I have that finished up, and then I decided I wanted to add a little hanger or a little ribbon so that I could hang it on a doorknob or a drawer pull, anything like that. So I have a flour sack towel here, and I actually had dyed it using just coffee. So I just put the towel in some warm coffee and let it sit for about an hour and then rinsed it out. So it kind of just gave it this creamy look. So I decided to use that, and I'm just cutting off a section and then figuring out about how long I want my little hanger to be. So I'm going to tie little knots on the end, and then I'm just going to hot glue it down to the heart. Alright, so I'm just going to glue this last little end down, and now my heart is ready to go, and I can hang it up, and I think it turned out really cute. So I wanted to share too, this was another thing that I made. I decided to make a little garland using the fabric hearts, and I simply used a needle and thread and ran thread through them and hung them up. So I thought this looked really cute as well. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I think these were so sweet for Valentine's Day. I would use them in a dough bowl as a bowl filler. You could use them atop a place setting like this shown here, or you can use the ribbon method and hang them up. There are just so many cute ways to use these little hearts. So I hope you've enjoyed this, and I will see you again next week for a Valentine's tablescape.